Respiratory and circulatory systems. The respiratory and circulatory systems bring oxygen and nutrients to the cells. These two systems work together to maintain homeostasis with respect to gas exchange. The respiratory system moves gases into and out of the blood, and the circulatory system transports blood to all cells of the body. Respiratory system. The function of the respiratory system is to exchange oxygen and carbon dioxide in the body. The part of an animal where gases are exchanged with the environment is called the respiratory surface. Respiratory surfaces must be moist in order to function properly because gases are dissolved in water before diffusing across these surfaces. Gas exchange in this newt occurs in the feathery gills behind the head. Respiratory system. Some animals, such as earthworms, use their entire outer skin as a respiratory organ. Gases are exchanged via diffusion. Other animals have body parts that are adapted for respiration because their skin structures are not extensive enough to provide gas exchange for the entire body. Examples of these include gills in fish and lungs in mammals. Respiratory system. In humans, oxygen flows through the following structures and organs: mouth nasal cavity, larynx, trachea, bronchial tubes, and alveoli. Gas exchange occurs across the mucous membranes of the alveoli when oxygen moves into the capillaries that surround them. CO2 exits the body by moving from the capillaries into the alveoli and out through the mouth. Circulatory system. Every organism must exchange materials with its environment. This exchange ultimately occurs at the cellular level. Small, simple animals exchange materials directly with the environment via diffusion. For large, more complex animals, diffusion is not a sufficient method of exchange. These animals have a circulatory system. The flatworms pictured here exchange materials via diffusion. Circulatory system. There are two types of circulatory systems: open, where blood can leave the vessels, like in a grasshopper, and closed, where blood stays in the vessels, like in humans. Both open and closed circulatory systems have three components. 1. A muscular pump, or a heart. 2. Tubes, or blood vessels. And 3. Circulatory fluid, blood, or hemolymph. Open circulatory system. This system is called open because blood is pumped through open-ended vessels and flows out among cells. There is no distinction between blood and the fluid that surrounds cells. This general body fluid is more correctly called hemolymph, hemo referring to the blood and lymph referring to the fluid that's around the cells. Closed circulatory system. In a closed circulatory system, blood is confined to vessels and is distinct from the interstitial fluid, the fluid that surrounds cells. Closed systems are more efficient at transporting circulatory fluids to tissues and cells. As a result, this type of system is more commonly referred to in vertebrates as the cardiovascular system, cardio referring to heart and vascular referring to blood vessels. Human circulatory system is closed. This diagram simplifies the circular pattern of blood flow through the human body. Blood goes from the lungs to the left side of the heart to the tissues via arteries. Oxygen is exchanged for carbon dioxide in the tissue capillaries. The blood then returns to the heart via veins and then back to the lungs, where it drops off carbon dioxide and picks up oxygen. Therefore, the human circulatory system has two loops, two circuits. The pulmonary circuit, which is involved in pumping blood to the lungs to get oxygen and dump off CO2, and the systemic circuit, which is used to pump blood with fresh oxygen and nutrients to the various cells and tissues of the body, and to carry away the waste, where they will be filtered by the urinary system. Evolution of the heart. In fish, there are two main chambers, one ventricle and one atrium. In amphibians, there is a three-chambered heart, two atria, and one ventricle. Each atria dumps its blood into the one ventricle. In turtles, snakes, and lizards, there is a three-chambered heart in which the ventricle is partially divided. In mammals, birds, and crocodilians, there is a four-chambered heart, 2 atria and 2 ventricles. The left side of the heart pumps and receives only oxygen-rich blood, while the right side receives and pumps only oxygen-poor blood. There is a separation between the left side and the right side, the left atria and the right atria, and the left ventricle and the right ventricle, and this is a septum that separates those chambers. In what animal does mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood occur? Human heart and circulation. The heart is a muscular, continuous pump that moves the blood through 2 pathways. The heartbeat consists of 2 contractions that move blood from the atria to the ventricles. Blood circulates through the pulmonary and systemic pathways. Circulatory system. In addition to transporting oxygen and nutrients, the circulatory system conveys metabolic waste products to the appropriate organs for disposal. Carbon dioxide is taken to the lungs and is expelled when you exhale. Nitrogenous waste products are taken to the kidneys, where they are expelled in the urine. The circulatory system also functions in immunity via the leukocytes. Blood vessels. There are 3 types of blood vessels in a closed circulatory system. Arteries carry blood away from the heart to the body. Veins return blood towards the heart from the body. Capillaries are microscopic blood vessels that carry blood between arteries and veins. The force with which blood pushes against the wall of an artery is known as blood pressure. Red blood cells pass single file through a capillary. This ensures that each red blood cell comes in close contact with the surrounding tissue to maximize the exchange of materials, which include oxygen, carbon dioxide, nutrients, and waste. Blood components. Blood consists of several kinds of cells and cell products suspended in a liquid matrix called plasma. Erythrocytes, or red blood cells, transport oxygen. Leukocytes, or white blood cells, are for defense and immunity. Platelets are involved in blood clotting.